7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kamen Rider Zero-One. I am Vashi V, and joining me today is...
Right?
And Zero.
Welcome to Kamen Rider Zero-One, episode 34. The human gear of the week works at a greenhouse growing vegetables because she's really good. She's a computer, so she's really good at keeping to a consistent schedule on when plants need watering and are ripe and all that jazz. And she serves no other importance to this episode other than getting kidnapped by Hirobi.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, like her character is important, but like not. Well, like she's there to basically like further Hirobi's character growth. But like she doesn't. I don't know. It's kind of hard to say she doesn't do a lot because she does. She's just like she gets very little screen time,
Like,
right?
to me, the way they, described what the purpose that she serves, literally a computer could do the same thing. Like, there was nothing shown to go, oh, well, she's faster than a human to do this, this, and this, in terms of, picking everything or anything beyond this is ready, this is done, hey, let's plant this now, do this, which is all things computer models could do for you.
Yeah, I know, but they can't do the physical labor, so that's probably
Right,
why she's
it
in
is
robot form.
right, but at the same time, they have other people that they could literally the computer can go, hey, this needs to go pulled, and then they go pull it.
Right, I know, but like I'm guessing the reason is it's like she's way more efficient because they kind of say that like she's tied into the farming network. So like okay, it's weird. Like she's not super necessary for what she does, but like symbolically she's super important because like she represents like quite a few bits of ideas from the show. It's one is like well she's a human gear who's growing vegetables, so it's like oh look.
Looking good so far.
All right, so we apologize for that. We ended up having technical issues on our side, but welcome back to the stream. I don't necessarily know where it cut out.
Alright, so
Yeah.
to summarize, Zero was saying that the human gear plays an important role because she has she's helping to grow vegetables, so she's helping to provide food and can work with humans, and also she tries to connect with Hirobi about his reason for being, like why he was created. Right?
Like the purpose she serves in the episode, it is a good one, and it is justified more so with the Hirobi side of things. You know, in that common ground kind of why are you here thing.
Right. I agree. I mean, like, I think that's true. Like, most of her important stuff happens when she's talking to Hirobi. Like, I think just her existence is kind of just like this metaphor for basically what Arto's trying to do, which is like build something new or grow something new. Like human gear and humans working together. So, like, thematically, she's important on the good guy side, but like, yeah, you're right. Like, most of the important scenes are the ones where she's talking to Hirobi.
Uh, yeah, because like she was made to work with humans, and like she was made to grow vegetables and stuff, and like she's okay with that. She's happy with that life, and so she wonders like, Hirobi, what were you made to do? Which he was made to be a surrogate father.
Which I'm glad that that came back around from when that information got put in the episode, kind of on a hey, this is why Jin got made kind of explanation, I guess.
Pixie thinks that Vashi looks mad and that I look high.
I mean, I'm not angry, and I'm pretty sure you're not high.
I've tried smoking weed twice in my life, and I didn't get high either times. I even tried a batch of edibles once, and they do nothing. They were just a bad batch.
Okay, I'm like, holy shit! You just like took the strongest shit possible. I was like, nothing.
No,
It does not.
it was a
No, it.
bad batch.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like. I'm like, wait, you took a good batch, and then you're like, no.
No,
That's
no.
like that's like taking a keg and be like, oh fuck it, I can't get drunk off of this. This is great.
PSA kids don't do drugs
I don't know, man. It's fucking weed. It's legal in Canada.
unless it's legal in your state.
Weed is a plant.
Dude, it's legal. Okay, it's so legal in Canada. They fucking like they do like, oh yes, this is the stock index of weed, and then they run like fucking weed commercials on radio and all this shit all the fucking time. Right? There's literally like a goddamn weed store like every like 2 blocks. It's insane.
That's pretty much what Colorado apparently turned into.
Yeah, pretty much.
No wonder Peyton Manning went to Denver.
Dude, okay, she went through so much shit. Like, let's not even get into that. Like, whatever.
I said Peyton Manning. Who'd you think I said?
Oh, sorry. I'm thinking of like. Okay, it's not important. I'm thinking of a very important person, but different name.
Anyways, back to Kamen Rider.
So yeah, Hirobi kidnaps the human gear of the week to use her as collateral for Ikazuchi's data. Meanwhile, Yua decides to accept Jim's offer of kidnapping Fuwa to extract Naki from his brain. Any questions?
I don't have any questions, but it's nice to see that Yua does have a change of clothes.
Well, she doesn't need to wear her work uniform anymore.
But yeah, the fact that her appearance has changed, it's not a drastic change by any means, but seeing her out of her lackey suit, it's a nice little touch.
Zero? Anything?
Oh yeah. So Yua, we're talking about. Yeah, Yua. Yua is super interesting this episode. It's all gonna depend what the fuck she does after the end of this episode. But in this episode, she's great. I also do like her outfit outside outside of the freaking suit. Like, oh, okay. I wish fucking Platinum was here because then we could totally make this programming joke. But nothing. It's fine. It's the whole like, all right, you're a programmer, fine. Like, shoulderless, whatever. You know, um, we would have had a whole bit, but it's fine. It's not important. But okay, she like kidnaps a dude and basically tortures him, right? I'm like, okay, it's Fua, so I can kind of understand because he's a dumbass and he would have run off otherwise.
But like even Jin is
Even
like,
Jin,
are
right?
you sure you should be hitting him like that?
Right? Like, I love how you was like, fuck it. I know what I'm dealing with this idiot. So just let me do it. Like,
Hey, he's
all
hard-headed, he
right.
can take it.
You asked me
you have
to
remember
bring
she
him
was-
here. I brought him here.
Right. Like, you have to remember, like, yeah, she used to be a bad guy for a reason. Right? Like, she's not exactly the nicest human being alive. But yeah, it's kind of good that she's doing her own thing.
And this lets her vent off a little frustration that she's built up over the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird that she's like, "Oh, I haven't decided to help you," but then she decides to help them. I'm like, well, that's a bit weird.
I think it's more she's decided to help them get Naki, but just hasn't decided to actually help them.
Like, I'm
Yeah,
pretty
that's
sure
right.
she's just trying to clear her own conscience, because, like, she blames herself for what happened to Fuwa, so she probably sees this as kind of like redeeming herself.
in one of those, hey, I'm somewhat responsible for the fact that you have an AI stuck in your head. Hey, let me get that out for you.
Yes. She's clearly
Also,
not
you have
thinking
no say
long
in the matter.
term, but she just quit her job, so she's really not considering anything right now.
She's got to get paid somehow.
She's not getting paid for this.
Just, I'm just trying to give her justification
I mean,
of
I
a
was
little
gonna say
bit.
like she's like a lead developer of like Zaya Enterprise, and I'm pretty sure she has enough money stowed away somewhere.
And
If she
if
doesn't
Hopefully,
not,
care.
because
I highly doubt it would have been hard for her to actually get like a new programming job.
well, that depends. A
Like,
lot
Yeah,
of
I know.
places have a no non-compete clause. So,
Uh,
like
for
for
programming.
for a lot of it, for a lot of
Uh,
major companies, and even some minor companies, like my company's not the most major of companies.
mhm.
We do sales worldwide, and we are high up in our industry, but our industry's kind of, yeah, versus, like Pratt and Whitney and Boeing and, you know,
Right, right.
anything technical and all that. If I if I leave my job, I cannot work in the same industry for another company for a year.
For a year, yeah, yeah.
oh
And
yeah,
a lot of major companies have that, just especially for anything like Zaya specifically would, for to
To
keep,
preserve intellectual
yeah,
property rights.
internal secrets and production
Right.
methods and ideas.
yeah. I had to sign one of those for my candle factory job. I wasn't allowed to work at another candle factory for a year.
Yeah. I mean, I had to sign one of those too, but
So
it's
like
not important. That job was.
she'd be able to get a job, a job, but it could be in anything that remotely competes with Zaya.
Well, the thing
So
is, like,
technically, she can't go work for Hedon
right,
by logic in
by
business
law.
strategy.
I really don't care about Zaya Enterprise and the law.
It look normally I'd be
Considering
like,
Zaya
fine.
doesn't.
Right. So here's the thing. Like, normally I'd be like, okay, it's fine. Nothing will happen. This is Japan we're talking about, right? Like, Japan basically outlawed, like, almost like replaying and reselling games because Nintendo said so. So you think fucking like Disney's control of the media is bad? Like Nintendo's worse. Like just think of that for a second. And they're a fucking games company, right? This is Zaya we're talking about, right? Like literally, the president's running around gunning people down, and nobody can do a fucking thing, right? Like,
Technically, he's gunning down robots.
yeah, I
I
know,
mean,
but the whole
some of those
point is,
robots were
Minus
people.
minus that one, hit squad they put out on Yua.
yeah. So that's the thing. Like you're right. Like technically, you're right that you probably can't find work. I mean, to be fair, she's an engineer, so like she doesn't need to do the software shit. Like she could just go work for an engineering factory somewhere else. Um, because like she builds stuff, right? If not that, then she can just go work for the cop. Well, I guess some different branch of the cops, but like she has prospects. Let's go with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which that I'm not arguing. It's just was a
Oh yeah,
bad
you're
joke.
right. The non-compete thing.
At the end, it was just a bad joke.
No, it's fine.
All right, so um, yeah, that's anything else. So before we get to like the stinger at the end of the episode, anything else to do with Hirobi kidnapping the human gear or Yua or anything like that?
I'm like, this was all pretty straightforward. It was interesting that she decided to go help Metsubo Jinrai, regardless of her reasons for it. Because it was one of those that the way everything played out, it made it seem like she was just gonna team Hiden all the way, and instead it's, yeah, no, we're gonna go help the terrorists for a little bit.
What could possibly go wrong?
Right. There's
Zero.
Sorry, what was that? Um,
Any other comments on Hirobi kidnapping the human gear or Yua helping out Metsubo Jinrai before we get to
no,
like the big stinger of the episode?
uh, honestly, before the ending of the episode, I thought what was happening is like, okay, it shows that Hirobi is going down the path of Arc, right? And he wants like more members or something. And in this episode, we figure out that he wants like Space Bro, right, to become one more member. So I'm like, oh shit.
Well,
And
like,
then
because he was
Jin wants,
already a member, he's trying to regather all the members.
right, that's what I was thinking. Like, I thought what was gonna happen is we're setting up for a civil war. Yeah, I know, but uh, one between the Matsubo Jinrai members, where it's like, oh, I guess like Jin figured out he needs help too, so he's gonna have like it's gonna be Jin and shit, what's the name?
Naki.
Ika's,
Naki, yeah.
yeah,
Jin
okay.
and Naki versus Hirobi and
Kazuchi.
Ikazuchi.
yeah, Ikazuchi. So basically, like I thought it was gonna be two versus two.
Like, nah, they're just reuniting Metsubo Jinrai.
Well, I'm not even sure about that because
I mean, that's
I,
Hirobi's goal.
right, that's Hirobi's goal, but I feel like what's happening right now is the Arc is hacking everyone and not Naki by the end. And it's like, well, the Arc is clearly still got like something going on with Zaya, possibly, but possibly not. Like, because the thing is like, okay, this we'll talk about this about the end, but yeah. So originally I thought it's gonna be like Yua, Jin, and Naki versus Hirobi in the Arc, right? That's not what happened. So I'm like, okay, that's totally different. Um, yeah, pretty much I was fine with it, but like I was not expecting this twist to come out. Like,
Yeah. So,
this episode was pretty damn solid, and then that happened, and that preview looks like holy shit, we've just shifted into a whole different arc. Yep.
so, Hirobi, or rather, uh, Jin extracts Naki from Fuwa into a Blank human gear, freeing Naki. And then Naki, it looks like Naki is like hacking um, the Zaya specs and then causing the humans wearing them to rampage. Uh, and like, so here's what I think is happening. What I think is happening is that Naki, when he's given his own body again, is connected to the Ark, and the Ark is making him do it.
Which I feel makes sense given how Naki was at the end of that little Thouser special versus now, because Naki was a lot more sentient then. Plus, we also get the sentience that Naki had inside the AI chip. So there's something there that's causing him to do it beyond just this being what Naki wants to do.
We do know that what Naki wants to do is make the dreams of other human gear come true. Which,
Right. And
if he's making Hirobi's dream come true, then this is it.
Right. Like, it would make sense as like, but I feel Naki would be more in line with Jin's idea. Because Jin's idea, when you think about it, Jin's idea is not really the most terrible of aspects. Basically, human gears run themselves. That doesn't seem like too terrible of an idea. Rather than, because his whole thing has been, well, humans see us as tools. We're not tools. Which apparently in this universe, that word just needs to be out at this point. Because it causes everybody a shit show. So the idea of harming humans for that aspect doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. whereas doing this would further Ark's goal, especially considering the Ark I'm pretty sure is very much anti-Zaya at the moment.
Oh yeah, no, the Ark probably just hates Zaya. Zero, what do you
So
think?
I think the arc just hates humanity because of how fucked up it's gotten. So like I don't think it cares about Zaya or whatnot. It's just like Zaya's the opposition. Like like the difference is like Jin once Zaya's gone might stop. The arc is just gonna turn to the next target.
right.
Right.
And that's why I says like it makes me think that this is more in line with what Ark wants or Hirobi's ideas rather than Jin's, which is counterintuitive to what Naki actually wanted to do.
See, that's interesting, but my thing is like we see Zaya's president guy, like he's acting weird, and then he says like, "Oh, call the vice president of Zaya and say we're going
Okay,
to set up
so
the civil war thing." So I'm like, okay, is he just getting numbers on his side? Because I'm like, he could get that any way he wants. But I feel like he just called them in to hack something because I'm like, oh, this timing
so
is like way too good.
yeah, so like he straight up talks about like, all right, let's move into our next phase and start a world war, and then all this starts happening. I'm like, whoa, 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 what the fuck is he doing? But then it's very clear. It's like, oh no, this is a terrorist attack. This isn't his plan. But haha, taste your own medicine, fucker.
No shit.
Now you're the one that's gonna get a bad public image.
It's gonna be
You're
1,000% bad.
Well, we don't even know that because I'm like, he's like next plan right here. So I'm like, Raid Riser. So I'm like, I
yeah,
don't even
he
know,
wanted
man.
to
Like
make
he
them a
might have.
public tool. He's basically Syndrome at this point.
Yeah, so exactly. But my thing is like he might have hacked his own specs. So like even the bad PR might. He's like, fuck it, everything's gone to shit. I'm just gonna carry out my plan.
Like that
Or
to
maybe
me,
he's
the
just
only
gonna say, oh, the Zaya specs were hacked by
by
So,
Metsubo Jinrai.
so
Jinrai, and therefore buy our new product, which
see,
is the
mm,
rider gear
I
thing. So
don't,
it's like you can protect yourself.
I don't see that happening. For a couple of different reasons. First off, Guy is very much the type to always maintain a straight face. And so for him to show genuine shock at like the Zaya specs like going rogue just feels a bit genuine to me. I don't think he was faking that. The second
I
reason is
don't know.
that like making one of your products malfunction so that you can try to sell a different product sounds like a horrible business strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. Tell that to Apple. Uh, it's the number one company in the world, right? And like, fucking, how many companies do that? It's insane. I mean, like, fucking car companies do it too. Like, intentionally damaging their engines. Um, fuck it.
So
Like,
But like,
we
it's
have
like planned obsolescence, which is bad. But then it's like
but
straight up no.
none of these examples involve humans attacking each other for blood.
Well, none of the other examples have. Yeah, that's true. But your new product is better security,
Oh,
right?
hmm.
Right. And so the thing is like, well, here's the other thing is like they could just like the raid risers, right? You can see, well, don't buy from Hida and don't buy from Zaya. Brand it as a different company and be like, here you go. Here's the thing to save you from the robots and crazy humans, right? And it's like, well, that wouldn't happen. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? We're like in a pandemic right now. And it's like, what's the first thing people did when I went to a lockdown? All right, guns. I need guns and ammo.
oh,
Like that is.
here it was here it was toilet paper, not
Oh
guns.
yes, toilet paper definitely. But I mean, like the guns, people. Uh, yes, definitely toilet paper. Which is extra funny because this reminds me of Supernatural, where it's like they go into the future and then there's basically like a demonic virus called Crotor or something,
Yeah, the Croatoan virus.
Yeah, yeah. And then they cut to Chuck, and Chuck is like kind of running the place, and he sends a message back like, "If you go into the past, man, toilet paper, hoard it like it's gold." And I'm like, no, in the real world, I guess everybody actually understood that message. I was like, oh man.
I mean, to be fair, that's what happens when you get a message from God.
Oh, it's true. I mean, well, originally he was just a prophet, but that's great. That's great.
So we've got 2 comments real quick. One of which I'm going to wait until the end for because it's a question, but the question involves a spoiler. Well, the answer does, anyways. But the other one that I will read, it says, I think after this episode, Gaia is screwed. Zaya Enterprises' reputation is in major jeopardy. Hidden intelligence return is getting closer.
See, that's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Thouser to just go through everything that he put Aruto through. Like, alright, your product is malfunctioning, it's now becoming dangerous to human life, it's gaining a bunch of bad publicity, all your stocks are gonna fucking plummet, you're gonna lose public face.
And then Aruto's just gonna buy all the stocks back and go, hey, wanna have a competition?
Does Aruto have that kind of money?
He might now. I mean, it all depends on, at that point, physically what was all left by his grandfather beyond just the intellectual property. Apparently, he had enough to get a building.
Well,
at least an office space in that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he could have had enough stored away to get a loan for the office. Yeah, but it's more likely that the writer doesn't give a shit about that because, like, well, he's repairing the human gear, but like, it's not getting paid for anything. So I'm like, well, how is he even affording the money to keep the lights on?
Well, but that's one of the aspects of the show that I'm okay with the fact that they don't cover it. Is there's nothing to say that he's not being paid to do this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, he is running a business. Then some.
Well, it is a repair shop, but
right, it's like he is probably being paid in some manner.
I mean, to be fair, this is Modern Rider. Like, when's the last time you actually saw somebody who's running a restaurant or a shop or anything actually get money?
During or towards the end of it,
in Build, they actually like notice is like, hey, how are you running this restaurant with no customers? Right? But like every other show, it's like, yeah, we're kind of just doing it off screen, but you barely ever see money exchange. I mean, like maybe there's like an episode in like Wizard, maybe.
By Modern Rider, are we including just normal Heisei?
Yeah, that's fine too.
Then I would say the last one was Deno.
Then yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Because he was legitimately working in the cafe.
Right, and then I can think of like Blade definitely had customers, and then like Fies they had customers.
X-Aid.
Did they?
I mean, he worked at a hospital. Of course, he was getting paid.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, well, I mean for shops, not generally. I have a job.
Sorry, are we talking about getting paid as in they had a job, or being a writer was their job?
No, I mean like having a shop owner actually get paid, because like writers have job, like Shinosuke's a cop, he gets paid, right?
Yeah.
Right. But like the shop owners, you barely see customers. That's what we're like.
Like there were a few writers that didn't have a job. Agito did not have a job.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
he ended up with one.
He ended up with one, but he didn't have a job for most of the series.
Well, I mean, he was basically taking care of the house. So
yeah, he was a housewife.
Yeah, he's like working like way too hard.
Wizard didn't have a job.
Yeah, but they kind of explain that because it's like he met Wajima and Wajima kind of let him stay. But you're right, he didn't have a job. But that's because he was like fucking.
Gaim was incapable of getting a job.
Yeah, which is dumb because Gaim started with him looking for a job, like a part-time.
And ended up with him having the best job. God.
Yeah.
Forrest didn't have a job. He was in high school.
Decade didn't have a job. He was a freeloader.
It's not.
Kind of, but
So
every place he went, he pretended to have work. He was kind of doing the Doctor Who thing, so I kind of let that slide.
O's had a job.
O's definitely had a job.
He started out getting paid. He didn't realize what he was getting paid because it really wasn't his pay. He just thought it was. But then he ended up getting the job at the restaurant.
Ghost didn't have a job.
No, he did.
Yeah, he did. He ran the
detective agency. Well, I mean, like paranormal investigation.
Wait,
the ghost hunters business.
He had a job while he was dead.
Well, they're an agency. So like they're basically the Ghostbusters.
Yeah, they were.
Right? Like imagine if Slimer was a Ghostbuster. That's basically Ghost. I mean, that's Kamen Rider Ghost. Pretty much that.
I'm gonna slightly correct the comment because I know what he means.
Okay.
It says Oz is literally unemployed with a lot of underwear. He said
That's
shorts,
not
but it
true.
was
He had
literally
a
underwear.
lot of jobs.
He did a bunch of short-term jobs. I mean, it literally started with him at a short-term job. Granted, he was knocked the fuck out.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, AG actually says like, yeah, I don't need a lot of money. I just need enough to continue my adventure. So he just
did a lot of.
Yeah.
He ended up working more at the restaurant because he stayed in that town for the duration of the series.
Exactly. I mean, like a lot of them do.
What was our point?
Hibiki, they work for like a.
Hibiki only
sweet shop or something.
Yeah, Hibiki technically didn't have a job because he was spending a lot of time training, but he would occasionally help out when he was in town.
Right.
So yeah, the point was on the aspect of whether or not Aruto's being paid for this.
Getting paid is like, I guess he is.
I imagine he is. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to afford rent.
The mangaka guy would have at least paid him because he has the money. So I'd let that slide.
Like, I don't think he got paid for the tennis coach.
Probably not. Yeah. That was that was a dissatisfied customer money back guarantee.
Well, that's not even true.
No,
because
the contract holder wasn't actually involved in that.
Well, yeah, because the customer didn't bring in the product. You can't charge somebody for fixing something you found on the side of the road, buddy. Right? Like, it doesn't matter if it belongs to them. They didn't ask you to fix it.
And then, like the commenter pointed out, Ryuki is also a newspaper journalist.
He's a journalist and also he's at a diner. Works at a diner part-time.
Work at the diner part-time.
And then, technically Fies is unemployed until he starts working at the
I look at a majority of the series kind of thing. So like, while Fies wasn't employed at first, he did have a job throughout the majority of the series.
Right, because he worked for the shop.
Yeah, the laundry
cleaners.
Well, the thing is, like, he wasn't even unemployed. It's just he was traveling around. He had a job at the bar, and
he quit before the start of the series.
Yeah, basically what happened is like his coworkers stole some money, and then like nobody would come forward, and then they blamed Takumi, and Takumi is like such a socially awkward dork that he is like, fuck it, I don't want to get into a fight, so I'll just be like, sure, I guess I did it, whatever, and then he walks out because he doesn't want to like fight anyone. So like he had a job, right? Like at least 3 months before the show, he had a job.
Yeah, but what's your point?
I don't know, what the hell are we talking about? Like just writing a job?
we got way off topic.
Right. Okay, so I guess Arto does get paid. It's weird.
Arto has to get paid, otherwise he wouldn't be able to run a business.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, like, he probably got paid for this one because, like, they're a business and they're still active, and definitely the mangaka guy would have paid him. So I guess, like, he has enough money for that. But not enough to buy back Hiden. Right? Like, there's no... I mean... The board of directors could make him president, but I don't think he has enough money to buy back the company.
I don't think so either.
I'll find a way to rectify that, because it's like he's not going to end the series as a president if he didn't intelligence.
Well, so it could be that the vice president and the chief of whatever could vouch to have Arto reelected as the president again.
They
And
could.
then they just and they buy the company back from Zaya.
Well, they don't even need to. It's like if Zaya fucking goes under or decides to like let go of the company, it won't matter. Um, yeah, whatever. Like, honestly, yeah, the only reason they exist now is to maybe come and help handy at the end, because if they don't, these are like the most worthless
It's
characters in the show.
apparently the only reason this exists now is to wear a pink apron because the show is too much of a coward to put him in a maid outfit.
Oh god
But
damn it.
but
Wow.
at least thanks to that scene, we do know what the perfect temperature for to drink coffee is. It's
Yeah.
60 degrees,
Celsius.
1,000%.
1000%.
I love that. T should be at 1,000%. They're just like, what the fuck does that mean?
No, 1000% at 60 degrees. It's like, wait, that's confusing. Oh man,
That was
that's
a great joke.
I love how you can tell the temperature too. It's like, too hot, 72. I'm like, how do you? Are you? Well, I guess he is a cyborg, but
Like to me, it's the small little moments that make me feel like he's that eternally 70, that eternally 24 or whatever the hell it
yeah.
is helped by cybernetics.
Oh hell yeah! There's no way he's that young. Um, yeah, like honestly, I don't even want Arthur to get the company back because he's way more presidential with his small ass company than he ever was when running Hidan. Plus, he like
Um,
looks more badass now, even though he's basically the same dude. He just like carries himself a lot more seriously now. So I'm
but,
kind of okay with it.
uh, so there's another comment on it. Is like there's a chance that the ending of the whole show will be a grown-up Aruto taking control of operations with the human gears at Aruto Intelligence or independent company operating human gears.
Yeah, so basically just an expansion version of what he has, which I'm cool with. I mean, the real secret ending is like they get too powerful, and then like all the previous CEOs show up to throw down, and then we have oh shit, what's that arc called? Um, in Yu-Gi-Oh, like the Five Dragons.
Oh, 5Ds?
No, original Yu-Gi-Oh. When like the
Oh,
old
Waking the
board of
Dragons?
directors show up in like
Or
that
the Big
weird
Five?
VR. Yes, that one. And it's just all the previous writers. See, actually, that's not true. Most of them are dead.
What if.
Um,
Okay, what if we get all the CEOs and get the deed to Hidden Intelligence and we put it in a ring and we have all the CEOs do a TLC match?
yeah, why not? Fuck yeah, let's do that.
Or they can do WWE's new plan for Money in a Bank: climb the building.
What?
Holy shit.
Climb the building?
Not climb it. So the idea for Money in the Bank this year is the match starts in the lobby.
Okay.
Okay,
so
they have to get to the roof.
You're
of the
just
building.
running up the
Oh,
stairwells.
fuck,
Okay.
that's cool.
Okay.
But they're supposed to be fighting the entire way up the entire
Well, yeah,
company.
trip each other up the stairs and break someone's jaw.
Is this just a live action beat 'em up at this point? Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's.
I have no idea what WWE is doing anymore.
I don't know, man. That sounds
Apparently,
actually pretty fucking badass.
fucking
It's gonna be
killing
lame
people.
as hell, but whatever.
Oh, 100%. I have no arguments on that.
But like, this
Um,
is a pretty okay. This is the type of nonsense that would happen in a writer show. Like, all right, whoever makes it to the top gets to be the president. Right?
They
Like,
literally just put King
he's
of the
like,
Hill.
all right, like Murakami just showed up, and like Genom and fuck, just like Thousand Island, like all. I know, I saw it, right?
Yeah, that makes me happy as shit. I love that.
Right? Like all these crazy fuckers. Oh man, somebody fucking make this wrestling comic now. Too good.
All right. So let's get back to the episode and to the wonderful ending of this episode.
Um, yeah, Naki is restored and is working for Metsubo Jinrai. And Jin steals Ikazuchi's data from Aruto to give to Hirobi, so he'll be revived. So all 4 members of Metsubo Jinrai are gonna be together again.
Yeah, so I don't know what the
Which-
hell's going on with Jin. I feel like Naki and Jin are like controlled by the Arc or something.
Jin is not connected to the Arc. Jin wants to liberate the human gear. That means that since Aruto was going to refuse to bring Ikazuchi back,
Okay.
Jin disagrees with him and takes it by force.
This is one of the things because I feel like if Jin just asked him, he would have brought him back.
Uh,
But this is weird because like he doesn't de-henshin or anything, but I guess that's
So-
because there's gonna be like a continued fight next episode.
so here's the thing: Jin doesn't actually care about Aruto. He was only getting close to him to liberate the human gear. He acknowledged that Aruto was good at helping human gear understand sapiens and discover their own free will, but that's as far as that went.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, this kind of puts you in a real weird place. Like, yeah, I tried to do something good. Guess what? Eradicate all of humanity. I'm like, shit.
Yeah, you
Right? Like,
it's gonna
could
have
you
even
imagine?
worse shit on her conscience now.
Right, exactly. It's like, all right, I stopped working for the evil guy. Shit, I started working for the evil team who wants to eradicate all humans. Oh man, she
God,
can't.
it's one of she's literally gotten to the point where she just cannot help herself. She literally went from just a guy who's being an asshole and trying to start a war to destroy all humans.
Are we
It's
the
like,
baddies?
Yeah, like she can't even leave the baddies. That's okay. I left the baddies. No, we are the baddies. Like fuck off.
She
Like,
went
could
from
you imagine
she went from the baddies to the worst.
Oh my god.
She went from
unless
I'm an asshole to fuck everybody.
To
Right. Like,
kill
unless
all
she takes down
humans.
the Arc, there's like no helping her. Like this sucks. Like I mean, Fu was there, so maybe she made it out okay.
This could literally have just been a let's free our Fua from having an AI stuck in his head, and that was all her plan was, and that's all she intends to do. That's fine. And this, in theory, this would also give her access to upload like a virus or backdoor or some way into that system.
I mean,
Or
it's
she can
possible.
end up,
She did
or she can
program-
end up starting the process for the fucking spoiler that for this show.
Well, I feel like she could put a backdoor in because she did that for Dodo, or one of them anyway. So Assassin. So like it's possible she could put something in. I mean, but I do feel like she's mostly doing this to help out Fua because of like the conversation they had, or at least like the 5 seconds of conversation they had until she knocked his ass out. Man, that is so good too, right? Like she's
Oh
totally.
yeah, that was such a great moment. And the fact that happened twice. Shut up, stop complaining. So I'm gonna touch on this on the comment because it does set up for one of the possibilities for what Yua is actually doing with Metsubo Jinrai if it's more than just this one moment. So spoiler warning to anybody, and Zero, I apologize for the spoilers on this. But the question was, which one do you think will be the final boss? Metsubo Jinrai, Gaiop Machu, Thousand Island, or someone else? Dun dun dun. Given the spoilers that we have for what's coming up, I'm 100% going with someone else.
Yeah, I mean, like we just threw down the name of like Zaya's vice president. Like you don't drop somebody's name unless they're gonna have a.
So the magazine scans came out, and there is a new character being introduced. We don't know who it is or what their deal is, but
We have a
they're
writer name,
they're a villain.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I feel
and
like Guy's done. And
Oh
it's
yeah,
either
totally.
gonna be the Arc or like Zaya something, whatever.
So yeah, Thouser hit his peak a while ago, where like, all right, he's achieved his goal. He's there. He's at his best. Now all that's left is for his downfall. And like, we've been slowly being fed that as we're setting up the next arc with Metsubo Jinrai returning to be the main villains.
Yeah. I mean,
which would which is in line with where we're at in the shows because we're only about 10, 11 episodes away from the end.
So I
we're
Maybe
think
like
12.
shorter now because of the break, right?
what we're
Right.
looking at for a final boss at this point would be the arc itself. I was willing to vouch for Hirobi or Jin, but I'm starting to think that it might be the arc itself.
Like, I
Possible.
feel like Jin's gonna survive. Hirobi might get
No,
destroyed.
yeah, no.
Defending the
Hirobi's
Arc.
not surviving this. Naki's not surviving this. No one cares about Ikazuchi. Jin is the wild card.
Right. I mean, like Naki might, but yeah, it's pretty likely they might sacrifice themselves to turn good. Because like there's no point in Jin and Naki doing it. So it's like, well, if anybody's gonna sacrifice themselves, it's gonna be Naki. Because like they don't even have a dream. Jin at least has a dream. So it's like, well, you're the blank, so you're gonna go down. Like
But
Hirobi most likely to get taken down defending the arc. Yeah, Ikazuki, who knows? Like, I mean, he still has his bro in space, so maybe he might turn good. We don't know.
Given the nature of what's coming in terms of the character that's being introduced, that all we have is a writer name, 100%, I feel that is the final villain.
Yeah,
Just off the name of it, which I'm not going to say.
that sounds
If anybody wants to find it, you can go find it. Because if I give the name, it to me that's an even bigger spoiler.
right.
I mean, you can find the scans pretty much anywhere at this point.
Yeah. Um,
But
but
to me,
like,
that
it's going to be interesting because, like, this episode was going at a decent pace and it was like really solid. And then, like the last 5 minutes, they're like, "Fuck it, no, new arc, go." Like,
yeah, it hit the end of the episode and went left turn into shit, and not bad shit, just like holy shit, shit's happening.
wow,
right? Like,
that
this
escalated
is
quickly.
like we suddenly entered the best arc of build out of nowhere, right? Right?
Uh,
Like, think about it. It's just the war arc, except it just came out of fucking nowhere, right? And it actually feels decent. Oh, also, I remember the fucking joke I was gonna make, which is like, ah, damn, too bad we already used the Tachibana name because it's like, oh shit, it's the vice president. It's like, oh, it's Tachibana. Tachibana who? Tachibana from Amazons. Oh man, it would have been so good. But like, we already used that, so that's not happening. If you haven't seen Amazons, Tachibana is basically he's basically like a corporate, like he becomes the president of like the Amazons corporation type thing in the second season. There you go. He's kind of like, well, he's not vice president, but he's like vying for the top spot in like season one.
I still need to actually watch that. Like I started watching it and I just for some reason I just stopped. It wasn't like a Kabuto stop of, oh my god, this motherfucker pisses me off.
No, yeah,
It was just I ended up, hey, new writer, new writer, new writer, new writer, and I
yeah.
just I've just been trending with all the new stuff, and I'm like, I should go back to that, and I keep reminding myself I should, and I just don't.
right.
I mean, there is probably gonna be like a hiatus coming up by the end of this month. So,
Which will give me time to watch it.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Um, but like all in all, like this was a very good episode. The pacing on it towards the end was a drastic left turn. But given the time frame that we have on this show, it makes sense. And the way that they've been blending the arcs already as it is anyways, it makes sense. And I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes from here because I'm very interested in what the hell Jin's up to now.
Uh,
Oh yeah. Like out of everyone, like okay, I kind of want to see what Naki is doing, but honestly, like Jin's fucking nonsense move, I mean almost nonsense move at the end has me super interested. I'm like, okay, like Bowser is kind of just showing up with a ton of people next episode, but like that's something I could kind of buy. This thing that Jin pulled, I'm like, all right, you better have one hell of a plan, bro, because like this can go south so fast,
Jin's
right?
not a good guy.
Yeah, I know, but like I even then, like I don't feel like he wants to become because the thing is like he can't side with Hirobi because that would mean the arc would just take him over.
Like
So
he
like for his own safety, he can't trust Hirobi,
So
right? So
here's
I'm
the
like,
thing. Jin
yeah,
doesn't want to like walk over other human gear to achieve his goals anymore, but he still wants to liberate the human gear, which coincides with Hirobi's interests.
I know. But I'm not saying like just become a good guy. I'm just saying like if you're playing two sides, because
He's
like
not.
for Jin, no, well, I mean for Jin to survive, because right now everybody's gonna do whatever the arc says, and for Jin to survive, he can't do that. He's gonna have to think for himself, because like otherwise he's just gonna get taken over. And if he resists too much, they're gonna end up fighting. So I'm like, you better fucking be ready because he's gonna have to throw it on with Hirobi coming soon.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I can see that. Like,
Yeah,
but for
like
now,
I don't expect him to be a good guy, but I'm like, don't become stupid, right?
but for now, like I'm a big fan of like evil organizations, so I'm really interested in seeing what Metsubo Jinrai can accomplish when all four of them are together.
So I have a question. Well, it's not so much a question, but it does kind of coincide with the whole Jin playing both sides of the fence thing. Like Ryan mentioned it, Jin doesn't want to walk over any human gears or anything else like that for his plan. He also doesn't want the human gears to be destroyed, and Hirobi literally destroys a human gear.
Yeah,
Right, that's what I
no.
was gonna.
And then Jin shows up, takes the key, is like, no, you saw that.
Right,
They're
and the other thing with Naki too is like, oh, I want to protect human gear dreams, and now it's like kill everyone. I'm like, oh, this doesn't seem like the thing you should be doing.
they're working towards
But
a similar goal by different means.
I mean,
Yeah, no, I feel like Naki is being taken over by the arc, which
Oh
is
yeah, no,
weird
I'm
because
talking about
like,
Jin.
right? Like, but
yeah,
it
but
like
like
this is
honestly, I feel like depending on what the fuck is going on with Naki, this could play out very differently. If Naki is like controlling everyone by their own will, like her own will, it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting because then they end up being more of the villain. But if they're getting controlled by the arc, then they can kind of end up siding with Jin, and then it kind of turns into two versus two, or maybe three versus one. Because like Hirobi is definitely not gonna turn. Also, I forgot that moment where it's like, oh right, it's been a while since like Hirobi fought Arto, and then like Hirobi wins. I'm like, yeah, of course, Mr. Kamen Rider won, right? Like, you're not gonna beat a new guy.
um,
That was a pretty great moment.
but I mean, at least on that, it still fits with what Hirobi had said when he kicked Thousand Islands' ass. Oh, fuck you, we learn.
Yeah, I'm fine with
We
that.
can store more battle data than you.
Yeah,
And
and
yes, Mr. Kamen Rider, of course. That's gonna be
Yeah,
sad when
no.
but that's gonna be sad when he gets defeated.
But yeah, no, Hirobi and Jin aren't going to be able to cooperate later on. But for right now, they have their immediate goals align with each other, which is reviving Metsubo Jinrai. Jin sees it as
Which,
liberating the human gear,
or even in this, just he just sees it as reactivating the human gears.
not under
Because
human control specifically.
right, so like the only way to do that would be to side with Arc.
Like uh, Jin's not really playing both sides. He's just working towards his
Playing his
goals.
side, but
He and
because of it,
he and Hirobi are gonna clash later on because they have different ideals. But for right now, like, they're legitimately working together.
Right. The primary difference in ideal, Hirobi has no problem killing human gears, obviously, and that's a big no-no with Jin.
Yeah, like honestly, I wasn't expecting Hirobi to just like be like, all right, fine, give me the thing and I'll give you the human gear. So I'm like, okay, he's just gonna turn them, but I'm like, no, he can't. He doesn't have the belt anymore, or maybe he does. He just doesn't want to use it. Just like destroy the human gear. Like I was not expecting that. Like totally disintegrated. Oh, well, I mean, maybe not disintegrated, but like it exploded. And so I'm like, shit, man. Like they are super setting up Hirobi to be like not redeemable at all. Um,
Which I'm fine with. I'm
honestly,
okay with there being characters that are not redeemable. Thousand
yeah.
Island's one of them,
Oh,
and I'm okay with.
he's
Uh,
gone. There's no way
and
he's surviving.
and I'm okay with, Hirobi being the unredeemable one.
Well, I mean, the most interesting thing too is they're like opposites. Like Hirobi and Guy are like the exact opposite. Where it's like, oh, I want humans to win. I want AI to win. Like, there's no in between. Destroy the other side fully,
But
right?
they're
And
they're
then,
both they're both the extremes on it.
oh yeah, I mean, they're so the extremes. They're literally the same suits except reverse colors, right? Like, it's Guy's is gold with purple eyes, and Hirobi's is purple with gold eyes.
And then they both have the silver
Yeah,
trimmings.
exactly. It's kind of insane. I mean, it's really well set up, but it's like, yeah, if out of all the characters, those two are definitely not surviving this. Especially considering I feel like Guy's gonna play the whole like big fight thing, and then that's probably gonna be his last failure, and then whoever shows up, most likely the vice president that he contacted, is gonna take him out. Right, because like he's failed like way too many times at this point.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, sorry,
One
up one
thousand.
thousand percent. Um, so we should probably wrap this up, but we do have one comment, and it's a fair question. It's not necessarily involving Zero-One, but it does involve Ryder.
Okay.
Um, when could we possibly see the summer movie teaser or the first look at the next Kamen Rider
So,
after Zero-One, with
Are
due
they?
to all of the pandemic going on? Um, I feel in terms of like the summer movie, it all depends on how much they had it filmed before all this stuff happened. Even if they were filming it before all this happened, because by this point it could just be an editing, and at that it just whether or not they can get it done given everything that's going on.
summer movie, I would say we would probably start seeing that around June normally, but it might get delayed. As
Yeah,
for
but
previews of
like,
the new Rider, sorry, go on about the movie.
yeah, I feel like if we're gonna see the movie, it's definitely gonna be delayed now. Like
Right, like
it
I
might come out fall at the earliest at this point.
right, right. It like I said, it's like it all depends on how they handle the airing it and premiering it. Because I mean, they may do the same thing that we've been doing here instead of going, hey, let's remove let's air this in theaters. We're going to air it on streaming services,
Uh, maybe.
which is what we've been doing here. Like they've been putting them up on like the various purchasing stores that you can do for digital,
I
um,
mean,
for like
it would
20
depend
bucks.
on if it was done. The other thing too is like maybe they weren't really planning on doing a big summer movie because, well, they're supposed to have the Olympics this year, right? And even the Olympics got pushed back, so
Right.
I don't
Like is
know.
it so that
Like,
all it all depends on what they had planned on doing, and if they did plan on doing it, where they were at when all of this stuff hit. Because there's a possibility that the movie was done. It's only a month away
right? I mean, at this
from
point, the
when it would
movie
normally
would
be.
just be like like, okay, it's the show is done, and this is something else. In which case, you could film around a lot of the stuff because you don't need most of the actors, right? Like, I mean, maybe you might need the first and the second, but like the rest you could probably shoot in suit actors and stuff, so they might have gotten a decent amount of filming done. But then again, this is Toei, so they might not have done it that in advance because usually, I mean, like the whole reason the versus movies were a thing is because like they could just shoot a ton of shit all at once, right? And then just edit it together. But I don't know. As for the next writer, like I feel like they probably have an idea of what the hell is going on. Like, do they have a name yet? It depends.
So
Um,
they probably do have a name, but have actually no, they don't, because if they did, they would have patented it, and we would have heard about that. So
Yeah,
that we're not going to hear about until like the June July area, at the
and
earliest.
because they've been pushing that back further and further as the years have been going on. Because I remember when I first started watching this back in Decade. Granted, I will skip to the writer after Decade, which was the writer after Decade.
double.
Double. About halfway through that show is when they trademarked the next writer.
Right. That's what
And
I was
then,
saying. It's like May. I remember X8 rumors
Uh,
coming out in May.
but
right.
it's been they've been trying to push it back because to avoid spoilers, especially with everybody scanning the magazines and all that. They
And like
started pushing everything back because of that.
Yeah.
yeah, so we're not gonna hear about that until June or July, and at that even then that'll only be people like keeping track of Toei's actions and be like, hey, they filed a trademark for this patent. This is the writer name. And
Right.
we won't get an
And
official announcement until even later than that.
Right. Like they at this point they might just turn the summer movie into the winter one because they're not gonna shoot the winter one now. Right? Like
like I
it's too crazy. It's probably not gonna happen. Whereas the next writer, they could just release a press conference if they wanted to, but the problem then becomes like if they can't shoot anything, what's the point?
right. So there's a possibility that we may not get the next one until this whole quarantine pandemic stuff is done. Um, though I on a side note on that is like I went back and looked at the concepts for 01.
Oh yeah.
My
Yeah.
God, thank God they didn't use half of it.
Oh,
God.
really?
Yeah, there's some
God.
insane.
Well, as per the concepts, like the instead of the progress keys, they were supposed to be like blocks.
Oh man.
How did
not
they
again.
work?
I don't know. It wasn't necessarily specified. It
Yeah.
was in the similar way if you like him passing it in front of the driver, because the driver was the same from what I saw.
hmm
And then
I
like
mean,
one of his forms was a rocket, but he had like the like little rocket fins here, and then his head was a rocket. And I'm like,
Too much
pouring it all
rocket?
over.
yeah, it was, and it was painted orange, and
Oh
it
god, that
just
sounds terrible.
every bit of it was terrible. It's like I saw that and I'm like, this is gonna be the worst thing ever. And I'm like, and
Like
then
the concepts
the
art are always off. Like the coolest one I still think is Coast because they had the hoodie ghost and people thought it's like, well, maybe it's like fashion themed. Uh, and the ideas for that are really fucking cool.
In
So
a
I'm
way,
like,
it
damn.
was fashion themed.
Yeah, I know, but it's different. Like nobody expected the whole like magic icon thing too much. Um, it was like the concepts were pretty cool for like XA. Oh, maybe not XA, but like definitely the Coast alternate theory stuff was pretty awesome. But like usually it's nowhere near that good.
there's a question I'm pretty sure I know the answer to of was when was the last time the summer movie had been pushed to outside of summer, which I don't think there has been one
I couldn't tell you
outside of
that.
outside of maybe like the Olympics happening and them wanting to focus on that.
That's a question for
Yeah.
Drago.
Other
He knows obscure facts like that.
right, Drago would know best.
Um,
If you
Honestly, they didn't even start doing summer crossover movie type stuff until much later because usually they used to have like here's a Toei movie or whatever, right? And like it would be like either alternate like early Heisei used to have writer movies, but they used to be like
Alternate
alternate history stuff,
universe, yeah.
right? So like you could pretty much do whatever the hell. Like Godspeed Love, right? Like it barely has the Kabuto actors in that damn thing, right? And so it's like, well, you could shoot like 2/3. I mean, like, yeah, 2/3 of that fucking movie without any of the Kabuto people in it. So like, why would you need to shift that back, right?
um
Um, right.
uh, on that note, and this is to the person commenting, once we're done with the stream, if you leave a comment in the actual
The
uh,
YouTube comment
the
section, not the
actual
live.
YouTube comments, not the live chat, um, we'll let Drago know to look at it and to have him respond because he would know better.
Yeah, I feel like there hasn't been any push. Well,
Right. I don't think there has been either, at least based on what
the
I
only thing I can
remember.
think of is like the Dragon Ball movie, which is also made by Toei, but Toei Animation got pushed back a couple months and stuff like that. But that was more like translating and other stuff, and they were working on some other things because like it had a totally different new art style and everything. Um, but like yeah, Toei Animation moves, Toei live action not so much. Yeah, but like, there's no point of releasing it in the summer now because like nobody's gonna go out to the theater, right? Like,
Right.
isn't that the joke that Taika Waititi, um, the guy who directed Guardians of the Galaxy and stuff, is like, well, the good
Oh,
news is at least the Oscars will be 30 minutes long next year
um,
because like nothing's coming out.
but like it says, like they could do the same thing that we're doing here, like releasing it on the Microsoft Store page, Apple Store page, all the various per like buy digital movie
Right. I mean, like
platforms.
Toei already has their own because the Toei stream specials, like the Brave one and Shinobi, came out on their app.
Right.
But
So they may do that and just make
but
you pay
the
for it.
right, yeah, the app you already have to pay for. But the
But I mean, they
difference,
may make you
yeah,
pay extra to watch the movie
right. Well, I
to
think the
make
app
up
is kind of like
for.
Netflix, so you have to subscribe to get it. But I don't think they're gonna put the movie. I mean, like it's possible, but it's unlikely because like the app is a thing, but it's more of a thing for fans. Um, so unless like they're seeing like a major uptick in the subscription for the app, it's unlikely they'll dump a whole movie because the thing with the movie is there's a lot of like licensing and shit that goes into that because you have to deal with a lot of agencies, right? Because like acting licensing in Japan is a real pain in the ass. So you can't be like, oh right, I shot a movie with your actor, and now I'm just gonna release it on the stream. So it's like that's not what this contract says. You know, this says theatrical release, right? Like what the hell did you just do, right? And that's like one actor times like every single major person that shows up in that movie, plus all the music.
It all comes down to what their options are available at the time when this has to be released.
Like I could
Whether or not they'll find a way to release it and charge everybody 20 bucks to watch it, which is what they do here, what they're doing here for what would normally be
I
coming
mean
out in theaters.
I would say I'd release it like Amazon Prime because I already kind of have an Amazon's deal, but I'm like
So that's kind of what they're doing is that like certain movies are getting put on Amazon Prime, but they're still charging you $20 a viewing as though you were watching it at
no,
the theater.
that is awful. But that is Japan. Ooh.
I'm talking
Well,
about
and
over
that's
here. I'm
here.
talking about
That
here.
that
That's what's
No, no,
happening
no.
over here.
in the U.S.
Yeah, I know, but for English movies or Japanese ones?
English movies.
For
Oh,
English
jeez,
movies
that's even
for like
worse.
for our
What the
theatrical
fuck?
releases.
Yeah.
That was their
Holy,
solution.
such greedy motherfucker.
The
Like,
the only remote good the only remote good thing about it is the fact of you've got 48 hours to watch it. like once you start it. You don't have to just sit there and watch the entire movie at once.
For that
Though
price,
I
that's like a
don't
DVD, right?
right.
Like I
Though
should have it and be able to watch it whenever the fuck I
I
want. Like,
agree,
I don't,
but
I agree too.
they have to make up for the movie theater sales, I guess.
okay, no, that's bullshit because they're not giving the movie theaters a cut. Like the whole reason you charge that stupid thing like 20
No,
whatever
movie
is
theaters make very little money on movie sales. Actually, most of their money comes from popcorn.
yeah, that's a good point. That is fucking
Ad
trash.
ad revenue for all
Oh
the
wow.
crap that they play before for the hour and a half you end up in the theater before the movie starts. Um,
Um,
but again,
Anyways,
with
this
that, it just comes down to what their options are at the time. And on that note,
yeah, thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. We'll be back on Tuesday for more Cure Major and next Wednesday for more Kamen Rider Zero-One. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
yeah, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll catch you next time.
thank you all for listening. We'll see you back next week.